Okay, why would you pick and choose? Is that because a question of resources, perhaps? Then yes, you can pick and choose. And I would probably, it depends on the industry you're in. If you're in a traditional industry, emails might be more important than social media. If you're targeting a younger demographic or consumer brand, you have a consumer brand, then I would say social media is potentially more useful. Uh, but ideally, you'd use both of them. The thing is with social media, it can be very overwhelming. There's so many different channels. So I would pick maybe one or two social media channels and then, of course, do email marketing as well and try to cross pollinate all those marketing efforts. And I think you should have success. What do you say, Tamsin?
I would say I agree with you in large part. Where I disagree is that because I definitely think that both is best, because they do different jobs, right? Social media and email, there's different ways that people interact with them, and also they have different functions, really. So with email, what we'll see is, your connections, your number of connections that you've got there, the audience that you're talking to is going to probably be smaller than the ones that you're talking to on your social channels, because you're doing good opt-in email marketing. But with email, you're building deeper relationships quite quickly. With social channels, however, you get to speak to a lot of people very quickly, but the relationship isn't going to be as deep. And I think that's really where I would say that I disagree slightly with what Jürgen said, because I think that it doesn't matter which industry you're in. Once you've acquired them as an email contact, then you want to be using that. I don't think there's any industry where it should be either or.
Social media is where you create more of an ongoing relationship with people, so you can share what you had for breakfast, for instance, and so on. Whereas emails is more, in my world at least, is where you send the important updates once a week or once a month, uh, and that has to be really good. And sometimes you do have a lot more email subscribers than people are actually viewing your social media updates. You may have lots of followers on social media, like on Twitter, for instance, but maybe only 1% of them actually give a damn, and you're on their list. So with email, I think you'll reach more of the target audience every time you click send.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, and that's why, um, yeah, that's why I said, like, the audience size would be bigger for social, or it's more likely to be bigger for social more quickly. But yeah, it's definitely the engaged relationship, I think, gets deeper more quickly with email, because you are sending those more important messages. So I think about the people that I've met that I have really positive business relationships with now, whether they've been my clients, or we've been partners on projects, or whatever it is. That relationship has always developed and, like, come to the next level once we've taken it off of the social channel, even though we might have met there. So it's when we have that phone call or we meet for coffee, that's when that relationship changes, or we start having a longer discourse by email.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If it's personal emails, say you're sending emails back and forth, absolutely. And I think it goes, for me, it normally goes with the outermost tentacles. A conversation starts on Twitter, then maybe goes on to LinkedIn, and then onto email, then a phone call, and then a coffee, and then hopefully some business. But I guess if you're doing an email blast to 50,000 people, that's not as personal. So I guess that depends on if we're talking about big scale email shots or if it's personal emails.
See, I think email blast is a dirty word, for one, because I don't think you should blast your audience. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I don't think it's respectful of them, and you're right. It's not going to be personalised. However, if you can, say you have got that 50,000 list, which I know there's a lot of small businesses that would love to be anywhere near approaching that. You can still personalize, you can still send to a chunk of them, but you can still personalize that message. So you can segment and and send specific topic updates. You can have customized content so that it does say dear instead of saying dear subscriber, it does say dear Jorgen or whatever, and you can make it more personal. But I think that's why you can't abuse email marketing. I think you've got to see it more as a relationship building tool than an advertising tool.